Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to have to do this in covert operations, but the ad agencies are after me. They're so mad about the fact that my awesome video for Prep 10 went viral that now they're angry that I've told them about their secrets to advertising. Unfortunately, they don't realize that Adam Barragato doesn't take no for an answer. Instead, he hides like a baby and wears a trench coat. I'm going to have to do this in secret because I don't want the ad agencies to know. I'm taking it one step further and showing them how they prey on our insecurities. But I will take my sunglasses off because I feel safe here. All right. I'm going to be teaching you about the first step to Monroe's motivative sequence, which is the art of the sales pitch. All right, so the first step of Monroe's motivative sequence is very simply to get the audience's attention. Ready? Or whether it be through a rhetorical question where you pause, whether it be through a comical joke where you also pause so people can get the punchline, or whether it just be through a story or possibly an unexpected statistic. All four of those are the most accepted ways to get an audience's attention. Of course, there are other ways as well. So once we've got their attention, it would make perfect sense that we would jump right into the speech and begin to diagnose the second part of Monroe's motivated sequence, which is to find the need that your audience has or the needs that your audience has. And so if you have a hard time understanding this, we're going to have to go back to advertisements in order to really showcase this, okay? Now, the key point here is that we're focusing on the problems that the audience has. But just as I am in disguise, so are the problems that the persuasive speaker is trying to share to you. So what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that you have 2 or 3 major problems, but they're not going to relate them back to the internal needs that you have as a human being. You see, we're going to be talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the whole idea of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is very simple. It's this idea that we have very basic needs that are hierarchical, which means that if the first need isn't met, then we can't worry about the second, third, fourth, or fifth need. The goal is, of course, to get to the very top need, which is self-actualization, to not be in need of anything. But unfortunately, there are so many Americans who are under the psychological brainwashing, we'll say, that we actually need more than what we think. You see, like the famous philosopher once said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you get what you need. So the whole idea of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is that these are the disguised needs that you're going to use in order to help your audience understand they have a problem. So you're not going to come out and simply say you have a biological or physiological need, but instead you're going to say you have a need for air, food, drink, shelter, warmth, sex, or sleep. And the reality is that you are indirectly and, of course, very stealthily disguising that need as something that's so internal to them that they don't consciously realize they have this need. All right, so like I said, the first step in Maslow's hierarchy of need is simply the biological or physiological needs, right? In order to live, we need air, food, drink, shelter, warmth, sleep, all these different things, right? And so if this first need isn't met, then we cannot begin to understand that second, third, fourth, or fifth need. Okay, so for the biological, physical needs, you can just say these are basic human needs in order to stay alive. Now, for each one, I'm going to show you a commercial to showcase how they're very stealthily and in a disguised manner trying to get you to buy their product based on the need they think that you have. Let's look at this first one with sleep.
When I get into bed at night, I dim the lights till the mood's just right. I wanna sleep, just wanna sleep. Cause nothing soothes me the same way. At the end of a long hard day, I wanna sleep, just wanna sleep. Ooh, come on.
Sleep, the most basic biological and physiological need. Right now, it's week 8 or somewhere around that time, which means it's midterm time, which can only tell you one thing. You are in desperate need of sleep, which means you're going to buy 5-hour energy. You're going to buy coffee. You're going to buy all these things. And so they are using this clever and comical commercial to get you to buy into a product based on your internal need to be well rested. So again, the goal is to understand with Maslow's hierarchy of need. You don't come out and say you have a physiological need. Your audience isn't going to understand that. But instead, you talk about the things that fit in those biological or physiological needs, and then you sell them based on the fact that your solution is going to help you with that. All right, so let's go on to our second one, which is essentially your safety needs, right? This isn't just protection from the elements or security, but it's also freedom from fear. Safety needs is not just physical needs. It's also mental needs, right? It's that whole mental process of being free from fear. Why do you think we spend so much money on those security devices, right? Why do you think we spend money on stupid car alarms that just go wah, 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 and wake people up more than scare them? I mean, let's face it. How well do car alarms work? Not very well. So if you're going to prey on a safety need, you want to think about what is it that your specific audience, what specific need do they have that relates back to safety? Let's watch this clever car commercial to showcase that.
They lived.
They lived. They lived.
We lived, thanks to our Subaru. Love.
Your car mechanic, as I'm wearing my Carhartt jacket, is always going to prey on those safety needs, right? Just like that car commercial. The whole idea is, you think about car commercials, they're all about safety. Have you seen the recent commercials where the car's about to slam into another car and then that cool, intuitive system slams on the brake for you? Think about it. They're preying on your safety need. So when you think about safety need, always think about your car mechanic, right? You go to your mechanic because you know you want to feel safe. Just recently, I had to take my wife's car in because her brakes actually stopped. I cannot tell you how scary that is. And so right away, I'm like, I don't care how much it's going to cost to get fixed. We are going to get this done immediately. Why? Because my safety need is not met. If my safety need is not met, guess what? I could care less about belonging to people, which is the next one. All right, so when we talk about the social needs or the idea of belongingness, we're talking about not just friendships, but also relationships, right? Sometimes romantic relationships. This is probably the number one targeted need that we see in most commercials today, right? Because there is a need to belong, to be around people that like being around you. The idea that we want to be loved and appreciated. This is all social needs. Let's take a look at this Match.com commercial to see how they prey on this very specific need.
So do you know anybody who's met on Match?
A girl that I was really interested in found a boyfriend on Match before I could make the conversion. I was actually kind of bummed.
You're not gonna let that happen again, right?
Never again.
Never again.
I know what you're thinking. Pretty snazzy jacket, right? The reason why I'm wearing this jacket is because when I was in college, I would wear this jacket to tailgates because I wanted people to think that I was cool. I wanted to feel I wanted to belong to a group of people. I wanted people to think I was cool. And I also thought I could even maybe get a couple phone numbers. I know. I was 18. No, I was actually 21 at the time. Let's not lie to ourselves. But here's the thing, right? This jacket is terrific. Not only does it make me... Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? Not only does it make me feel good, but it also reflects in the sun. So people are like, well, here comes Adam Barrigato. Hey, that's a cool jacket. Let's talk to him, right? Think about Match.com. They do the same thing except without the jacket. They do it with this clever commercial where they prey on the idea that you lost an opportunity to find a loved one because you didn't use Match.com. Just like I could have lost out on some opportunities not wearing this jacket, right? Needless to say, the jacket didn't work. I had to retire it, but I brought it out of retirement just for this. But the whole idea when we're talking about social needs, right, is this whole idea that we want to belong in friendships, but we also want to have relationships. And so if you're preying on that need, that's going to showcase through the idea of belongingness, affection, not only from those around you, but also your work group, your family, and of course, romantic relationships, okay? So you want to remember each specific audience is going to have different needs, but you can't have your social needs met if you don't have your safety needs met. And those can't be met if your basic physiological needs are not met either. So let's go to number 4. As we continue to go up the ladder, we get to esteem needs, okay? So now that we've got friends, now that we're safe from the elements and we're safe from our cars breaking down on us, and we've got food, clothing, shelter, now we can worry about what people think about us. And so the major categories or ideas here are achievement, mastery, independence, status, dominance, prestige, self-respect, and respect from others. Let's face it, I'm not getting any respect from anyone right now, so I might as well just take this thing off. The whole idea of esteem is we want to feel like we're doing something that's worthwhile to ourselves, right? It's important to note that esteem is a little bit different than self-actualization in that we're talking about the need for achievement, right? The need to get that respect from other people, and it can only come from success. So let's take a look at this car commercial to see a good example of this.
Look at you, so dashing. Come on. Nowadays, lots of people go by themselves.
No, they don't.
Hey, son. Have fun tonight.
I love this commercial. It aired for Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but it makes perfect sense, right? The need is this child, well, the student, needs to feel respected. He needs dominance, status, right? So what does he do? He takes dad's really expensive car, he finds the homecoming queen, gives her a big kiss on the cheek, and then in return, he gets one on another cheek. But the point is, when he's driving home, even though he's got that black eye, he not only feels self-respect, but respect from others. And that's a need that can only be accomplished, according to this commercial, by buying a fancy car. So do you see how sly that was? They're selling you a car, but really, underneath all that, that clever disguise, is the need for self-respect and respect for others. And so again, your goal, if you haven't figured it out yet, is to find the needs that your audience has, and in an ethical way, share with them how you can solve that need through your sales pitch, right? Because a sales pitch doesn't work if you're not focusing on a specific need that they have. All right, last but not least, let's talk about self-actualization. Once we get to self-actualization, we start to realize our personal potential. We seek self-fulfillment and personal growth. And so now that we feel respected, now we can start to venture off into new paths, right? That maybe people haven't had a chance to blaze. We get to find new trails. Self-actualization is a challenging one because it feels like esteem. And so I want to make sure that you know when we're talking about self-actualization, we're talking about others. When we're talking about self-esteem, we're talking about ourselves. So once we have self-esteem, once we have confidence and respect, then we can start worrying about everyone else. Now, it is tragic that we have to wait to this point to really understand the needs of others. But think about it. Those first 4 rungs in the triangle, those are all about you. And finally, this is about somebody else. And so someone with self-actualization needs, they need something that can help them feel that self-fulfillment, realize their personal potential, and go out there and do something unique. Let's take a look at this final commercial through Apple to see how this is showcased.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
This commercial perfectly shows self-actualization. Steve Jobs is the person that's saying it, is giving credit to all those people who everyone thought was crazy because they were blazing their own trail. And yet, look what ended up happening. All these people were extremely successful. Why? Well, because they were seeking personal growth. They were trying new things. They were charting new territories. And that's why I wear my suit here. Because when you get to your self-actualization needs, you realize there's more to life than just you. And so you get to a point where you can give up everything else and give back to those around you. Okay, let's face it, this suit's a terrible example. I just needed another thing to put into, but you get the point. You know, as a teacher, I have self-actualization needs, right? And that's why I'm trying these crazy videos. That's why I do everything I can to get my students engaged, because I want them to seek personal growth. I want to try new things. I want to blaze new trails. And so, you know, to some degree, this suit coat just kind of, you know, fits in what maybe a professor might wear to showcase the power of wanting to help people. Or not, it's up to you. Either way, it was a fun object lesson. All right, so a couple things to keep in mind here, okay? Number one, you have to remember that you can't just go from basic physiological needs to self-actualization needs. And so you've got to pick an audience and you've got to decide what needs you think they aren't being met. A lot of times it's probably going to fall in that safety, esteem, or even belonging. Very few audience really ever get to that self-actualization needs. The person who created this triangle said that 1 in about 100 people ever get to step number 5. And think about it in your life. Think how easy it is to go from all the way up to esteem, all the way back down to physiological needs because maybe you get a bad grade on a test, or maybe it's because you know, your roommate wants to kick you out, or you're just so tired that you can't think straight. I mean, these things are fluctuating. It doesn't just start and end. It's not this real nice ladder where you just keep climbing up. It's constantly in flux and changing. So like all these commercials have seen, or excuse me, like all these commercials have showcased to you, what we're trying to do is find a need that your audience has, and we want to exploit it. Now, in this class, I want you to exploit it in a beneficial way. I want you to do it in a credible way, because then you're going to give them a solution that's going to fulfill these needs. But they have to recognize that they have needs that aren't being met. And so your solution should help them meet those needs and then go up to the next rung. All right, if you're still listening to me and you haven't given up yet, I have a very special reward for you. At the very top of the page of this prep, I want you to write down what made to stick principle you saw in this video. As long as you don't tell anyone else, but just put it on the top there and don't say anything on the day I come to grade this, I'm going to give you an extra credit point for going through this entire video and listening to me. This is a fun social experiment. I want to see how many people are getting this far to the very end of the video. And it's also a way for you to go back and look at the made to stick principles to see which one was most commonly used in this video. And you get a free extra credit point if you do it. And don't tell anyone. I will simply come to you, I will smile, give you a thumbs up, and you will know that you got a plus. If you write which made to stick principle was most evidently showcased in this prep on the top right corner of your prep. See you soon.